Hello. Welcome back to Film Conscious.
My name is Erin.
My name is Maddie.
If it's your first time here, hello and welcome to our podcast where we discuss films and their various meanings and give our general take on them. We chat a little bit about our favorite actors, scenes, songs, and many important other film stuff. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast.
Also, very big shout out to our one subscriber, whoever you are. You're very awesome. Erin, would you like to say something to them?
We love you.
Love you. And this week, we'll be chatting about Call Me By Your Name.
Just a few warnings. The film includes nudity and may be inappropriate for ages under 17.
Some LGBTQIA plus resources are the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255.
These resources will be down in the description below with other various resources.
A quick rundown of the film. So the film is directed by Luca Guadagnino. I'm very sorry. I know I said that wrong. I'm very, very sorry. And it's based on the novel Call Me By Your Name by André Aciman. I'm also very sorry. I don't know if I said that right. The novel and film are both based in Italy during the summer of 1983 and follow the main character Elio, a 17-year-old boy who spends his days living with his family on their 17th century villa. Elio meets Oliver, a doctoral student who is working for Elio's father in the summer, and Elio and Oliver form a bond that changes their lives forever.
The film's overall meaning signifies the deep desire of intimacy and connection, implying that desire is to be known by someone on a close and personal level. The film is a romance. By the way, it's actually a horror film, so it has a strong sense of love and trust, containing many symbols leading to a profound bond. A few of the different symbols or main topics of the movie include intimacy, identity, and coming of age. And also, we'll talk a little bit about the age difference and the controversy of that age difference.
Favorite actors in the film?
My favorite actor obviously is Timothy Chalamet. Timothy is beautiful. I know that's really like a straight thing to say coming from someone who's not straight, but like he's beautiful. It's the
This is
jawline,
beautiful.
man.
Two shout outs to minor characters. Michael Stolbarg, who plays the father, he reads a lot of well, he acts a lot of the very like hard hitting quotes, I think, from the book that I really enjoyed near the end of the movie. And then we see big shout out to Amir Kazar, who plays Anella Perlman, who is Elio's mother. She is so pretty, beautiful woman, very goddess like.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the age difference and the controversy over that.
Number one, it is controversial. What is their age difference? Elio is like, is he
It's a
7
like a close to a 10-year.
age difference?
I think it's hard because he's technically in the US, he's a minor. In Europe, um, he's technically not really a minor. I don't know what their laws are in Europe, but you can drink at a much younger age. You can go to clubs and stuff at a much younger age. Um, but in the US, he is a minor. So I think that's really what makes people upset. Personally, for me, I think whatever makes you happy makes you happy. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not directly affecting anyone else. Um, yeah.
To say that it's particularly a good thing or that we advocate for the having a bigger age difference. However, I think that does happen in real life, and I think it happens more often than we think. There's nothing like super. conniving about it, I don't think. Like with Oliver, it's he didn't have malicious intent to like hurt Elio or do super terrible things to Elio. It was very much just like he Oliver broke Elio's heart.
Yeah.
I think Oliver also, we don't see a lot of this, but he lost a part of himself after he left too, because he knew it was a very special moment.
Mm.
Um, I think it's a human experience,
Yeah.
definitely. I
I
don't
agree.
the age difference definitely doesn't take away from what it's trying to say. Call Me by Your Name, André Aciman, I think it was decisive. He definitely chose a higher age for Oliver, and I for a reason. Um, I think part of that also goes with the ending where he does get married. Sorry, guys. He gets married, Oliver gets married, and that is very, very heartbreaking to hear. That kind of just like wraps up the film and
Mhm.
wraps up the novel as well. That's the big thing that happens. It's a decisive decision. Um, and I don't think Asiman is trying to glorify having that huge age difference, but like that wasn't the point of the story.
I think things happen in life that just happen for a reason, but I also think that Oliver getting married touches on a lot of people's lives that are in the closet. Um, in that time period, you were expected to get married and have kids, and we still are today.
Yep.
Um, and sometimes things just happen that way where you have to leave a situation and start a new life. You have to fit in. We're going to talk a little bit about identity. The film covers a lot about Elio's identity, but also talks a little bit about Oliver's and Elio's father. The entire film is about Elio finding his sexual identity, but also I think his
Yep.
personal identity. Um,
It is a coming of age film.
it's a
So
coming of age film. He learns a lot about himself that he didn't know, just a lot of things that he wouldn't have known if he didn't meet Oliver. We
we
get a
talk
little bit of a glimpse on Elio's father
yeah,
um, when they have a talk later in the film.
it's a very sad talk.
Yeah, but it is very sweet at the same time.
It's,
It's honestly what you would want from a parent. If you could have like a ideal situation, this is how a parent would react. Um,
they would say exactly what Mr. Perlman says. I don't know if
yeah.
they'd come out to their son. However, I think it is very sweet and it is a very good way to handle what
Yeah.
happened. It's very, very ideal parent to child talk.
Yeah.
Mr. Perlman talks about his own childhood and not actually being in line with his identity as a child and how he's in a way very proud of Elio for the experience that he just went through
You
because
have to be brave
yeah,
to pursue anything. So I think as a father, he's honestly just proud. Um,
very
and
sweet.
yeah, it's really sweet. I think that again ties into the like sometimes you have to put yourself into the norm. You have to fit into society
Feels like
because you think there's no other option, or there is no other option. And it's quite sad, but also I think his father doesn't really, I don't know, his father doesn't seem upset about it. His father just is overall a man that's just like, this is life, and we have one life.
so
And
just do the best you can.
yeah.
Live your live your truth, son. is what he says.
I think there's a little bit on some culture as well, um, tying into being Jewish. Like Elio and Oliver are both Jewish. And throughout most of the beginning of the film, they're kind of questioning if what they're truly feeling is valid, I guess. Like, just with that constraint of society and societal norms, but also the constraint of culture. Yeah.
It deals with identity very
Mhm.
well, in a very like sort of complex, very intriguing way.
Film, one of the overall meanings also is like love and the loss of love.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And
it's a painful experience, but loss is something that we all experience.
it's the sort of grief I think that hits Elio. The love comes on so strong, and nothing tremendous actually happens within establishing a full relationship. There's never like, you want to do this, this, and this. Oliver kind of just comes and goes, which is very sad. And it's obvious that Oliver was trying to cling on to that too, to this like special glimmer of a moment that they both have. Oliver ends up going home, which really
But I
sucks.
think that's just a big thing in life, touching on love and loss. Like, you're gonna lose people, you're gonna love people, and that's just part of life.
I think what's very big about that too is that it's very much not black and white. But I think I've just realized what's really interesting is that we see this progression of Elio finding out his sexual identity, and he goes from having this relationship with Marcia, the girl, and he transitions out of it to pursue a relationship with Oliver. And right as that hits its pinnacle, that goes away. And Oliver leaves a relationship with that he holds on to strongly with Elio and is starting to build a relationship with a woman. So it's a very like full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it closes the circle of the story, which
Yeah.
is really interesting.
I was thinking a little bit about if this movie was, instead of being two men, if it was a male and a female, if, let's say, Oliver was a female that's studying abroad, I think this movie would have been a whole lot bigger for every audience. But at that time, and when it came out, 2017, it was a big thing, but also it got a lot of hate. And I think if it was a straight film, it would have not gotten that hate. But since it was
Yeah, that's a
two
good point.
males, it got a lot of hate. But it also got a lot of love. Um,
I think it depends. If Oliver was a woman and Elio is still a boy, that wouldn't have gotten any hate, I don't think, or as much. But if roles were reversed, if Elio was female and
the age gap would have caused some hate.
yeah, it's often when I think a male is significantly older than it causes traction, and for good reason. However, I think it would have gotten hate in that sense.
Yeah.
It takes away the whole point of the story if identity, because that's identity is so big in the film, especially sexuality. I think I don't know how that would look because that is such a huge core part of the film.
Mhm.
It was one of the few queer films that really had bigger actors in it.
That's true.
Yeah, and it was very big in the queer community. That's before queer movies were coming out. There's still not many, but it's growing.
Yeah.
I saw the TV Glow, which we talked about last time. That got traction for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it was one of those films that was monumental because we don't often see queer films on the big screen at our local theaters, and
Mhm.
that did happen. So that's very cool.
When I search it up, some critiques regarding the film, they talk about the age gap, but they also talk about how the film's representation of queer relationships is potentially lacking complexity. I think compared to our last film we talked about, it is lacking complexity. But I think that it's, in my opinion, not lacking that much complexity compared to some other films.
Oh, for sure not. I think there is a lot of complexity to dig into, especially if you've read the novel.
Mhm.
Especially if you've read the novel. Um,
When you put such a amazing novel into, I don't know how long the film is, but a short period of time of a film, you have to cut out a lot. And they did cut out some significant parts of the novel that I think if you read the novel, you would know that the story itself is more complex than the film makes it seem to be.
there's only so much you can't even put narration in there. It's very just like you have to infer
Yeah.
the film, and then also, which is not bad, but it's very different. There's a lot more to say when you're writing a novel. There's a lot less dialogue, a lot less narration. Um, things are also just done differently.
Yeah. I'm gonna read a really long quote that's actually from the novel. I read the novel. Maddie and me are reading the second
Sequel.
book sequel.
Find Me is the sequel. You fully read the first book, and Aaron highlighted quite a lot of quotes
I
from.
have a list of my favorite quotes, probably like 20, 30 quotes.
Would you recommend Call Me by Your Name, the novel, to people?
I would recommend the novel as it is written insanely well. I think the movie overall is done well. However, the book is just far superior. Um,
That's like, I feel like
that's
that's
most films that are based off of novels. I think most people can agree that a lot of the novels are just superior. Um, but it's just written beautifully. So I would recommend it. So my first quote, Elio's point of view. He says, not a fire of passion, not a ravaging fire, but something paralyzing, like the fire of cluster bombs that sucks up the oxygen around them and leaves you panting because you've been kicked in the gut and a vacuum has ripped up every living lung tissue and dried your mouth. And you hope nobody speaks because you can't talk, and you pray no one asks you to move because your heart is clogged and beats so fast it would sooner split shards of glass than let anything else flow through its narrowed chambers. That's on page 14. So it's pretty early on in the book. And overall I just like it because it has such strong imagery. You can visualize the living lung tissue and dried mouth. It's a beautiful written line. It's also an insanely long sentence, but
is
it's
it all one sentence?
that's all one sentence. There's a few
That's
commas, but one sentence.
two quotes from the film. They're both from Elio's father. So shout out to him. Shout out to André Aciman for writing the quotes. The first one is, we rip out so much of ourselves to be cured of things faster than we should, that we go bankrupt by the age of 30 and have less to offer each time we start with something new. But to feel nothing, so as to feel anything, what a waste.
That's probably the most common quote, one of the most popular, but it
Definitely
is just very, very good.
10 out of 10 quote.
10 out of 10 quote.
Maybe 12 out of 10, I don't know.
My second quote is a very short quote, and I have it written above my bed because I'm in a bunk bed, and I like looking at it at night, and it makes me happy. This is also a quote from Elio's perspective, again from the novel. The light of my eyes, I said, the light of my eyes. the light of the world. That's what you are, light of my life. This is page 85. Um, it's just cute. Um, it's sweet.
My second quote is also by Elliot's father, and it's just remember, our hearts and our bodies are given to us only once. And before you know it, your heart's worn out. And as for your body, there comes a point to where no one looks at it, much less wants to come near it. Now, there's sorrow, pain. Don't kill it with the joy you felt. Elliot's father. That hits hard. I think especially that last part, don't kill it with the joy you felt, is very big. I think people are very like your first instinct is to immediately forget about the bad feelings you're feeling and then cope with it in ways that just like cover up whatever just happened. I think sometimes not sitting in it and just like dying on the inside forever, but like sitting with it and just like reflecting, like whatever just happened. Yeah, thinking
Yep.
through it. Solid plan.
I think for favorite scenes in the film, that's a hard one. I really do love when they go traveling together and it's just them two. I forget what song is playing at the time. It's a Sufjan song, but they're running up the hill and there's a giant waterfall. And it kind of most of the film is in one setting. So having the scene in a different setting was really nice.
I do think that moment in the film is very, it's so sweet to see, especially because they go to this waterfall. I mean, the whole film is in a very like natural area, very pretty, very green. But going to that waterfall is very magical, and I think that enhances like the magical moment between the two of them. And then of course we have the tragedy after, but no one has to think about that. I mean, all the shots are so beautiful, but I think using bodies of water repetitively throughout the film is just really nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. Are there a lot of like summer films? Like I know there's summer films, but not really one
I
that I could
think
say is
not
like
as
owned by your name.
slow. This one's very slow. Like it's fast paced in the sense of like they're bonding, but the each day feels like it lasts forever. Especially when you're reading the novel, every single day is like when you're on summer vacation and you have this long period of time where you're just like living life. There's a routine to it, but it's not a work or school routine.
Oh, the day sort of lingers.
hmm I don't feel like there's too many films. There's a few, but there's not a ton that have that sense of length. Out of 10, I'm ranking it 9 out of 10. I don't I don't know. It's just like again, like I'm leaving space just in case there's a movie that like changes my life.
That changes your life. I also give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Um, because it is a very good film. Is it my favorite movie in my top 20? Is it in my top 20? I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. For
Just
ranking on the tier list, it's coming in second because we only have two films right now.
yes.
And it's a great movie. However,
However,
compared to our last episode's film, you know,
they're very different vibes. I think I Saw the TV Glow is done in a way that's just very, it's very effective in its message, I think. And that's why it's so powerful. Also, just everything about that film is amazing.
yeah. For
Uh,
favorite song in the film, there's just so many good songs, but I would definitely say the entire Sufjan Stevens album is amazing. But my two favorite probably would be Futile Devices and visions of Gideon. They're just, you could listen to them on a fall, winter day, even summer, and just, it's so calm, but so deep. I just love those songs.
I think Stevens definitely takes the cake with with every bit that he puts into the soundtrack for the film. Um, Also, if you're new here, Sufjan Stevens is awesome. You should listen to him. If you don't listen to him, what are you doing?
Top 10 artist,
Maybe like top
top
five,
5 artist.
top five artists, top three. I don't know. Maybe top one.
Maybe my favorite artist
Of
ever.
all time. My favorite songs from the film are "Mystery of Love," very good song. Futile Devices by Sufjan, and then A in the Backyard with M.A.Y by Ryuichi Ryuichi Sakamoto. Very good song. Um, very sweet song. I like it a lot. It doesn't include a main instrumentalist. Like we see it a lot. If you've watched like Wes Anderson films or Ghibli films, like in Wes Anderson, we see Alexandre Desplat. He does all of the sound, like almost all of the songs for his movies, and it's very like there's a reoccurring person,
Yeah.
and it makes all of his movies very cohesive. Same thing with Ghibli with Hayao Miyazaki. He puts Joe Hisashi in and his orchestra to orchestrate a lot of the songs that are in the films, and it makes everything very vibey. It keeps it very cohesive. But yeah, there was no one instrumentalist or one person doing orchestrating everything, which was really cool.
My favorite song of the week. I'd probably say Barn Nursery by Hey Nothing. I've been listening to Hey Nothing a little bit more. I honestly haven't been listening to that much music this week, so it's kind of random song, but
I have two songs on here. I'm gonna change my first one. I think my favorite song, it's a song I just started listening to yesterday. It's I Push the Button by Stephanie Maybe, Mabey. That's how you spell her last name. But it's very good. Absolutely Cuckoo by the Magnetic Fields. Very good song.
for other media, I want to shout out The Outrun. It's a 2024 film, pretty darn new. It has Saoirse Ronan as the main character. I love Saoirse. We'll probably talk about Saoirse in future episodes. Um, she does an amazing job. They touch on some Celtic folklore, and different Celtic cultures and stories. Really sad film, but it's really good.
My favorite media for this week are short films by Yoshitaka Amano. I don't know that we're gonna butcher so many names on our pod, but the short films by them are very good. I worked on The Legend of Zelda for the graphics during the first run of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but their short films 1001 Nights and Phantascope Tylostoma are very good. They kind of have the first one, 1001 Nights, is kind of like a adult Fantasia. It's very satisfying to watch. There's a lot of pretty colors and the art is all done. It's all hand done, all traditional art for both films. They're very good. Um, yeah, that's my media of the week.
Thanks for watching
Thank you for
and or
watching.
listening.
We hope you enjoyed our pod for this week. Our one subscriber, thank you for being here. I hope you watched this and I hope you made it this far. Drop a comment down below. Maybe mention one of your personal favorite films. It doesn't have to be queer, but just anything you like.